Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of our AM2R playthrough. We're gonna keep exploring these caves, because that's what you do in this game.
Yep, that's Metroid in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's a cave story.
Oh, I need to get to that one. I just finished recording Shovel Knight.
Oh, it's great. It's very excellent. Also, Cave Story is only like half a Metroidvania game. It's kind of one, but also kind of not. Like it's the levels connect, but they are more discrete than in a Metroid game.
It's also a lot more linear than a traditional Metroid game.
Yeah, there's a ton of hidden stuff in that game and like a bunch of different endings and all that sort of stuff. But yes, for all intents and purposes, it is. You know what? Actually, I disagree. I actually decided I don't agree with you.
Let's do this.
Like Metroid games are actually quite linear. They don't really give you. There's usually basically like, aside from like a couple missiles and different locations of hidden items, there's usually a pretty clear path. In fact, Metroid games are probably the most linear of that genre, whereas like Castlevania tends to be a little bit more open-ended and slightly more like labyrinthine and have sort of crazier secrets involved, whereas Metroid is like quite straightforward.
I agree. Castlevania is a completely different story, but Metroid, I feel like there's enough exploration. Like you can go, especially if you're trying to 100% the game, you're going to be backtracking quite a lot.
Yeah, I find a lot of that stuff is more like, it's more knowing where, like, it'll tell you where those items are. You don't
It's
really
evolving.
Have to explore. We have this crazy evolve form. These guys are way harder because their legs block a lot of missiles from hitting them, and they can also shoot this electric stuff.
You should have pressed B to stop the evolution.
Yeah, I hear that works in all games. That's the Nintendo code, I believe.
That's right. Yeah, like the Atari code. It's
yeah. It's the Konami code, Will.
A Konami code, that's right. Are we sure Atari didn't have one? Yeah, no. Okay.
No, I'm not. I'm not. So, you could be right.
Yeah, I hate this form because they're just so damn annoying.
You get really used to them. Like every boss type in this game, you like, after the first couple, you're like, okay, I get what's going on here. And then they sort of confound your expectations by just like changing the environments that you fight them in, which does actually do a lot to make them more difficult or just sort of change the tone of them pretty drastically.
I find they're more difficult earlier on in the game when the game puts you like in more open spaces, because if in an enclosed space, if you can get them at an angle and just like launch every single missile into their underside, it's so satisfying.
Yeah, sometimes you get onto like really good streaks where you're just like bam, 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 and they die, and it's great.
Now, Jordan, were you talking about like how those guys are in the original Metroid 2, which is why they're such a pain?
Well, yeah, in here and in the Metroid 2, they are a pain. I just find, like, of all the Metroid forms besides, like, say, maybe the Queen, like, I hated them. Though, correct me if I'm wrong, there's one more form after this one?
I think, no, there are two more.
There's two.
You count, like, there's two more if you count, like, Omega Metroid. Which you would. Yes, that's yeah. There's two more forms. Okay. There's one that is like a big dino sort of thing that charges at you, and then there's just the boss of the game. Or they're not the boss of the game, that's not true. But then there is the boss of the game, who is also like, what is that, like the Metroid Queen or something? I forget.
Oh, the final boss?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's technically like three more forms.
That passageway that you came out of to get to this chamber, Dan, did you have to get up it the first time? If that makes sense?
I don't remember.
Because I remember...
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say I probably, like, looking at how the map is right now, I'm going to say I probably went down that before.
That's so weird, because when I first played this game, I actually went up that path through the use of spamming bombs, and like I MacGyvered my way into that little slot. And I felt like the game didn't want me to do that, but I didn't know where else to go. So I spent like a good 10 minutes like bombing myself up, and I got through, and I don't know if that maybe I found it all.
I guess this game is more open-ended than I gave you credit for, Will.
Yeah.
Case in
Will with the pro strats.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah. Though to what you guys were saying earlier, though, like, yeah, Metroid games are like really linear, but what I find is really great, and honestly, this is what Other M failed at, among a bunch of other things, was that it's despite the fact that Metroid games are linear, they give you so much freedom to do whatever you really want in this environment, which I find is a really unique sort of element of the Metroid franchise that not even a lot of games that emulate it really successfully do.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying the linearity is a bad thing at all. I don't think linearity is like inherently bad or anything. And also, I think the Metroid games are good at being very linear, but not necessarily feeling like they are, which is, those are two very different things, right? Listen, I have no problem with it at all. I just don't think they're particularly like open-ended, really, other than Will's extremely professional strategies.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I get it. Like, the Castlevania comparison is actually a really good one, because, my god, that game.
Those games are crazy, man. When was the last time you played Symphony of the Night?
You can skip, like, entire sections of that castle if you really wanted to. You wouldn't even know
also, there's so much,
castle existed.
There's so much stuff in that game which is just, like, super hidden and crazy.
Some of the sequence breaking I've seen is just, like, insane.
Yeah, it's
I
really
feel
nuts.
I feel really bad that I've never really played Castlevania.
You should, like, Symphony of the Night holds up amazingly.
It does.
It's a really good game.
I hear that, and the only Castlevania game I played, and I could be totally wrong about its name, it was Order of Ecclesia on the DS, I think.
Sure. Yeah,
and,
that's one.
Yeah, that's the only one I think I've played. And I didn't play the entire thing to completion, I only played a small part of it. And I swear, this boss always felt like a Mega Man boss to me.
It's very Mega Man-y. Also, yeah. I will also say that, like, most bosses in this game that are not Metroids, I'm just flailing the entire time I feel this way about every Metroid game, where I never really learn the boss's patterns, and I'm kind of just, like, flailing my way through it.
You figured this one out pretty quickly, I would say. It took me another minute, I think, to figure out I needed to bomb the thing to get into those electric drills.
This may or may not be my first pass-through of this. I may perhaps have used some tricky editing to make it seem like it's my first time through, when it's actually perhaps my second time through.
Nice. Magic is lost.
Yeah, the illusion's ruined. Sorry, Dan.
The first time I did this one, I actually found out about the whole like bombing him to put him up into the drills by total accident, because I was just like, what the fuck do I do? And then that just worked. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, totally.
Morph bombs are like my last.
Also, I feel like
comes to
a lot of the bombs here, like especially when it gets really fast and crazy, like you can see I'm almost gonna die here. I'm not gonna die, but I'll get very, very close. And part of that is just like I'm just kind of randomly bombing things and hoping for the best at this point.
I really do like this, like the strategy for the boss though to beat it.
It's cool. Yeah, it's super cool. I don't know, Jordan, is this boss in original Metroid 2?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Same deal.
Yeah,
slower,
I think so.
Obviously, I assume.
Yeah,
but...
honestly, like this boss was a Metroid 2. I love like the original Metroid 2, but I will admit that my memory of it is somewhat spotty, just because like I played it about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I sort of skipped through that item description, but now I can jump when I'm in Morph Ball form, which is very, very useful and really makes your mobility a lot better and makes it a lot less annoying to get around.
I actually can't remember if that was in the original Metroid 2, because the most I remember, you wandered around for 20 minutes. The most I remember the whole jump while Morph Ball form thing being actually relevant or a thing was in Metroid Prime 3, where I was like, oh, thank God they actually did this.
True. Yeah, I couldn't remember if that was an upgrade you get in like other Metroid games or not. And I still can't. I also can never remember if like being able to stick to walls is a thing that you get in other Metroid games. Like
yes, it is.
Morpho. It is.
It is.
Sure. All right.
Was it in Fusion? I remember it was in the Prime series.
Oh yeah, Spider Ball is sort of like one of the marquee sort of upgrades for the Morph Ball in the series.
I feel like it wasn't in Super Metroid, but I could be making that up. Because I feel like in Super Metroid, instead of that, you get the like grappling hook instead of being able to go.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's hard for me to really say because I haven't played Super Metroid in even longer, because that was like 3 or 4 years ago now.
Yeah, I played that game about 3 years ago, I think. Got that Wii U version. That was the first time I ever beat that game.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make a real effort this time.
I actually love the Wii U version.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a really good emulation of the Super Nintendo version, also with save states.
not only that, but like the thing is like the fact about the Wii U Virtual Console is that you can remap any button to any button, and I didn't like the initial way the control scheme worked, so I just changed it to something that was completely different, and I loved it.
Yeah, it's always weird because Nintendo controllers have the X and Y and A and B swapped from what like Xbox controllers have, and that can just get really annoying, I find, and I hate it every time. Every time it's like, oh, I need to press the B button. I'm like, ugh, this is not correct.
I don't think you can change things on the Virtual Console of the 3DS either. Because I think I tried doing that for Mega Man, and I just couldn't swap.
Can you? You can. I think so. I could be wrong. Okay. But Samus just digivolved.
Yes, she did. I love that. I mean, I again, that's like an animation that I don't know if that is common in these games because I haven't played a 2D Metroid in a while. But I really love that animation. That like they just give it some nice like. I don't know. There's something. They give it some like gumption of just like, yo, check out this cool new suit you got.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool. I dig it.
It's pretty nifty.
One of these days I need to play. I need to go back and play like old Metroid 2 in all its black and white confusing glory.
I think I just never will, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'd watch a Let's Play of it, but I don't think I'd ever play it for myself.
It's a good thing to play, guys. Do it.
Listen, I believe you. I appreciate the people who play it for me to watch so that I don't have to play it myself, which I think I've talked about before. But yeah, it's I don't think that's a game I'm gonna get to anytime soon, really.
Yeah, I've got too many things to catch up on right now.
Yeah.
Hey, you got a missile.
Gotta get that missile tank. You might have been wondering, hey, what is this idiot doing? The path forward is very obvious, but I needed to get that missile tank. Very important.
Yeah, by the final boss, it's actually I think that flying bird boss is actually pretty important too.
Flying bird boss.
The Chozo statue that comes to life. So like a Ghostbusters.
That's a cool thing.
Oh, it flies. It flies.
The Chozo statue will come to life and say, "Happy New Year!" Well, this is our first. This is my first recording of 2017.
This is This is
That's true. For the people at home, it won't be. But
no, for people at home, this is coming out like a month later.
Yeah, but for us, it is. So Happy New Year, people.
Yes, happy belated New Year's to everyone watching.
Everyone was watching the old stuff, being like, "Man, these guys are so rude. Didn't even wish me Happy New Year."
Oh, see, here's the spot. But I didn't have the space. I didn't have like the high jump at this point.
Oh, weird.
Is that her regular jump? Was I just a dipshit and like used the bomb every time?
I think you might have been.
Well, that's 5 minutes I'm never getting back.